This is Short Hammer. It is the 11th of April, 2021, and this is Trading Zones. So, market broke out last week. The bulls are going nuts. They're loving it. The bears are kind of crying if you're short and being squeezed right now. This is an insane move. I do expect some sort of a pullback, but we'll see how this works. Um, you don't want to get in my opinion, I wouldn't get long here. I'd wait for a pullback to get long, but everyone has their own way of doing this. Everything is bullish. It feels like, so just have to wait and see. So for me, watching the 4074 and the 4056, you see these little plateaus, 4099, 4092.25. We'll see these little highs and pullbacks and push ups. We'll see if we have a pullback into those areas. Below that, we have the 4015 3998. I'm not expecting that to be a pullback spot. I'm expecting one of these higher levels to be a pullback spot. But we'll see how that works out. But you know, just just bullish and squeezing, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just be careful not getting caught up in the excitement and just going long to go long. Make sure you have a setup, an entry and exit point. Go ahead over to the Russ, see what we've got going on over there. So we have um the ES and S&P just at all-time highs, but the Russ it's pulled back, right? It's not at all-time highs. So let's watch these levels. 22 34 is a level. Above that we have 2247. Above that then we have 2290, 2300, 2313. To the downside we have 2211, 2199, 2172. If I'm looking at this, can this pop and squeeze? That's possible, but wait for the setup. You have these levels. So if we break over this 2247 area, what we want to look for above that is bullish action and a squeeze, right? That's what we want to see. Bullish candlestick structure. If we drop below this 2234 area, we want this to be bearish. But I'd watch these lower wicks down through 2225. For me, you want that to break. Excuse me. Just because you've seen all, like, each attempted push down, the buyers kind of stepped in. You would kind of see this push back up. So I'll be careful. With this one, this is still undecided, it looks like. So we'll see which way this goes. But just looking at each the wicks here, the lower wicks, it shows you that the buyers aren't ready to quite give up yet. So we'll see if that continues into next week. Amazon being Amazon. So what we mentioned was watch the 3220 area and over 3080. Look at this squeeze. No pullbacks truly. Um just to squeeze all the way up. So right now we're at the 3367. To the upside, we have 3370, 3386, 3433, 3450, 3458. To the downside, watch out for 3344, 3268. You can watch this consolidation here to see if there's any hitches here in this 33 was this 32.95 by 33.14 area if we pull back, but the true level at this area is 32.68. Let's look at the bigger picture here. hmm This looks like it may be headed up here to the 3400s, but we have to wait to see if we get a pullback and what happens on Monday. But looking at the 4 hour chart, it looks like we should be up here in the 3400s, like around the 3450s on Amazon. We'll see how that plays out. Um, yeah, we'll see how that plays out, because what you usually want to do is use the long term setups to find short term entries so you could follow the trend. You rarely want to trade against the trend. I mean, you can catch a quick scalp here or there if you're counter trading the trend. That's true. But usually you kind of want to determine the direction of the market, and the easiest thing to do is just follow that. Netflix. So Netflix is at 550s. So what we need to see is bullish action above this through the 567. We'll see how that plays out this upcoming week. But remember, the 550s are an inflection point all the way up to the 560s. We want this area to sort of give us a decisive break, either to the upside or the downside. If to the downside, then we're still in the channel all the way down potentially to the 490s into the 460s, right? So that's still potentially there. You could draw this as um, a slight uptrend, and I am a line drawer, like drawing lines. Um, I like to have an idea about what's going on, and I draw my lines kind of weird sometimes. I'm not looking for perfection. I just want to make sure I have something there. So if this pulls back and taps this trend and keeps going, I'm like, okay, cool. That's what everyone's looking for. The main thing that you really want to look for is what is everyone else seeing, right? Because if you can see what everyone else is seeing, it makes your job easier as far as getting in and getting out without getting caught, right? And it's not a perfect science, but when you have trends and you have horizontal lines, these supply demand areas, it usually makes it a little bit easier to figure out the direction just based on those levels, because above a specific level and we're bullish, you look for a tap at the next level. Below a specific level and we're bearish, you look for a tag at the next level. And you'd watch something like this trend on the first touch of that. And that's something to potentially consider getting long off of. Just my opinion. So we'll see. But we are squeezing on Netflix. We have the levels to watch. A break over the 560s would be great if we could squeeze 575, maybe into the 600s. We had to see how this all plays out, right? We have to see, because just as easily as we're buying up and the market is trending in a bullish direction, we could easily go back the other direction, because there's a lot of things going on right now as far as the interest rate bonds. Um, just really interesting how the market is reacting to data and to information, and how some things are correlated while other things are not. So really interesting right now. Um, Definitely be cautious. NVIDIA, same thing. Everything has the same setup. It's breaking out 570. So we're above the 555s, 570s. Next stop is the 589 area. If we hold this, if we don't hold this, then we'll see a retracement in the 555s, in my opinion. First hitch is the 560 area. We'll see if that plays out. You can look here and see these tops, right? Right around that 556, 560 area. You can see those tops here, 555. So right above here, you can see those tops between the 560 and 555. We'll see if we get a pullback here, if we get a continuation into the 580s and potentially higher on NVDA. Microsoft going crazy. Break above these tops where we struggled, right? Look at this gap, right? It's a gap and go. And it was a clear decision that this area was not going to affect this chart. That's a decision that the traders made on this. They gapped this for a reason. There is no, once you're above that, it's clear. And a beautiful squeeze here. I'll draw some temp lines on this. This thing is going nuts. But when something does something, goes, remember, I'm a retracement trader, right? So because of that, when something does one of these crazy movements, I've got two options. Either I use the power of pivots and Elisa's strategies, or I look for something else that is more in a retracement mode, right? So this is a nice squeeze. We'll see if this can continue. I will definitely be using this to help me trade the cues. So, or one of the things that I use. So Microsoft strong. We did mention that 3 of their divisions did really well and performed really well last earnings. And these things are just continuing to trend in the right direction. So we'll see if Microsoft continues up this upcoming week, or if we get a slight pullback to, relieve the pressure, allow some people to get out and others potentially to get in. So we'll see how this plays out. A lot of times when something is running like this, since we all know that strong stocks usually get stronger, it's usually best to find a place to pull back, um, and wait for that pullback, wait for the liquidation break, and then dip by it rather than chasing the tops. But everyone has their own way. Just sharing a perspective. Apple. So breaking, got above the 127 area. That's beautiful. Through the 131s, 134s are next. Above that, 137s, then 142s. We do have an area here, 138.56. I'll extend that, so I'll keep an eye on that during the week. We'll see which way we go. If we continue up, we should definitely hit these levels. If we pull back, we want to see if we're able to hold above the 131.75s. Then the 127.45 will be the next target. But this is just really strong. Insane movement here on Facebook. Just things are breaking out. So in my opinion, right? You want to be careful being jumping in at these levels. It's usually better to um just wait for setup. Like if you feel that this is going to continue and not stop, wait for a liquidation break to be able to get in, and they should pull back on that day a few points. If you're going to chase the top, I would be careful of being in all. Just give yourself an opportunity to be able to be right. So if you get long here and you're just in half your position size, if you get a squeeze, at least you can maybe not even squeeze. If you get squeezed, you just take profits. But if you get a dip, at least you have some left to average. So just be careful with these tops of trying to jump in and expecting it to be nonstop upside. when we were going down, we expected it to be, or some people expected it to be nonstop selling. So neither buying or selling is infinite. So you do want to be careful to try to get in on, on cycles, right? Like right now we're cycle high. How this thing is trying to squeeze. It's better to find a pullback day, get in at cycle low or lower, and then ride that elevator back up. Just my opinion. Intel still squeezing up. Um, you could almost do that and see this 5 minute trend line is riding up here. And um, you definitely want to like to see a break at the 68.50s. If we get that, watch out for 69.09, the next level. See if we can pop that and if we can go. If we pull back, watch 6753, first level of contact, first touch, see if the buyer step in. The trend line is below that right here. You see how to draw using the 5 minute chart. Mm. CMG. Um, we did want to see us bullish above the 1460s, 1468 to be specific. Look at this candle, gap and go. Now we're squeezing 1510s, 1523s. Watch the 1548s. That is the area that's up next, and this thing may go right. Maybe have to the 1600s. Definitely like CMG as a company and the way that they're run. We'll see if this buying continues, but the best thing is to look for use this long-term trend to find a great intraday setup that you can play. Or should I say shorter term setup that you can play. We'll see how this plays out, but you can draw a trend line here if you wanted to. Just all these things have the same pattern, and don't let what the market is doing now fool you into thinking that the market was just never going to go down, right? So just keep an eye on this. And if you're more bearish than not on the market, then you wait for the first red day. But you want to be careful, right? Because if we're doing this squeeze, that first red day could just be a dip buy, and then we're back at those upper levels almost overnight. So be careful. But the levels to watch, since we're above the 1520 threes, is the 1540s again. Watch the 1540s and see if we pop that and if we squeeze. If we dip below it, then you're gonna watch the 1523s, 1510s. 1468ish is an area, but this is an area that definitely has some problems finding buyers. But now we're squeezing above. Even look at this consolidation here, between the 1510s, almost the 1460s. That's beautiful. Right above that gives us, a little bit of room if we're gonna squeeze. We'll see how that plays out. McDonald's nonstop. This is nuts. Be careful. I will be watching for probably a short setup in here sometime soon. This is just crazy, but do they deserve it? Yes. They've done a good job during the pandemic serving their customers. Um, so we're at a 231. To the upside, I've got nothing. Like we got some blue skies. So if we pop the what's this? The 232 ish, and we're in the 233.50s. Um, Maybe no ceilings. We'll see how that plays out. But McDonald's is looking pretty strong after spending quite a bit of time down here, right? These 216s down into here. It's 206s. Look at that break in the extension. Beautiful. So we'll watch to see if we keep going. Then you have to use a strategy, whether it's going to be uh, pivots or standard deviation. You have to use something to find your levels when things begin to break above those all-time highs, or even if you use Bollingers. Each person has their way. See where DLTR is. Squeezing. Nice. Made the highs. Nice pullback here. Um, just just going. For me, there's only thing you can do. There's nothing for me to do if I'm trying to enter into Dollar Tree right now. I'd have to find a pullback, and then I'd have to jump in and rise to the top. But nice and bullish above the 115s, where it's had issues in the past, and we're squeezing. Beautiful setup here, Dollar Tree. CI. You hear that in the background? It's funny. Non-stop. Look at that. Just healthcare is going crazy. For me, I'll wait for a pullback. It looks like we're kind of in some sort of a mini. If it were me, right? It's not, but I'll do something like this. What are we doing here? What is this? And this is a little bit sloppy, but I'll do something just like that. And what I would say to myself is, okay, if we pull back into the upper 230s, I may want to get long. And 235. So pull back in this area, might want to get long. On a push through the upper 240s, this 247ish area, may want to get short and watch for an extension above 248s that high. And if we get that, then be out. So that's a potential thing I might be looking for on CI this upcoming week if we don't gap through. Just to see if we see a little bit of ping pong action here between the 247.40s and the 239.20s. So that could be interesting on CI. Have to check that out. Tesla. We are not so far. We have been able to break above the 713s. That's something to watch for. So to me, even though the market is running, there's still to me a little bit of trepidation here. So we'll see next week if we get above the 713s. If not, keep an eye out for a pullback into the 650s or 651 area, 616s, then lower into the 500s, or what I like to call the Sophie levels. We'll see if that happens. But the expectation is there's been quite a bit of, I'll say almost sideways action, even though you see these extensions. We'll see what Tesla has in store this upcoming week, right? This is interesting. See if we hold or if we sell. But watch the 713s, break at the 713s, target the 780s. We'll see how that plays out. Looks like there'll be a slight hitch right here around the 744s if we go. So that could be interesting on Tesla. ZM is doing what it should be doing. Vaccines are out, so it seems as if people will be back to work in a lot of physical buildings, and just the direction that's coming out of the CDC right now, it makes it seem as if we're sort of pushing through the pandemic, and people there was a survey that was done. It's a funny survey. The people that are really feeling anxious about the pandemic, they're getting shots. They're being very careful, wearing their masks. Those that aren't, they really don't care. And so they're two groups, right? And we'll see how that plays out. I'm kind of listening to the healthcare professionals, but we'll see how that plays out. Watching ZM, to me, I'm not taking any position on ZM because there's so much uncertainty. But interesting, nonetheless, that it's hanging out in the 320s, and just looking kind of blah, if that's the way to put it. The last few trading sessions. Goldman Sachs. Um, we want to see what happens above 337s right now. It's sort of more of a middling type of thing. You want to break and push into 337s. Once we break that, watch 344s, 347s, 356s are the top. If we sell below, potential 31920s, 310. We'll see how that plays out on Goldman Sachs, but um, just lots of strength. Even though it's not at all time highs, it still did a nice job of squeezing up here. SPY, going. And nope, I don't have anything here because it's, power pivots time when things start doing this insane movement, right? Where it's above the retrace levels. So, and because I'm in the futures, I really don't watch the SPY um, too much. Maybe only it's on one of my charts somewhere, but um, if I'm watching this, look at this little plateau here, right around the 409.40s. Then this area here, 406 by 405. There's a little bit of candle structure that could be interesting. Um, but SPY is strong. Market is market is very bullish. Just don't try to get in the way of a moving train, especially if your time horizon is short. We'll see if we get some sell side. A lot of things look overextended, but just look for the trend. If it's a bullish trend, wait for the pullback. Um, then um, get long if you're bullish on it. If you're bearish, I don't know what to tell you. You can really wait for a red day and then see if there's a secondary red day continuation and play intraday scalps. But just try to find the trend and follow the trend. That is my thoughts on that. If you like this video, please don't hesitate to tap that like button. And if you'd like to receive more content like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Power of Pivots, where you can look forward to not just receiving videos from me, but receiving videos from Elisa as she shows you how she utilizes her power of pivot strategy to find great intraday entries, pre-market plays, post-market, and also swing setups. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful week of trading.